Hi, my name is Jim McKee. It's a real pleasure to be with you today. I'm excited because I want to talk to you about the 2024 AES meeting that'll be in Chicago in February at the Marriott Hotel on Michigan Avenue. Dr. Adam Winkler and I are fortunate enough to be the program chairs of this meeting, and we'd like to thank Dr. Lawrence Morris for the opportunity to be able to put together this type of program. We've got a fabulous 2 days designed for you, and we know it's going to answer a lot of the clinical questions that we see every day in our practice. On Wednesday morning, we're going to start out with a wonderful speaker, Dr. Bill Robbins, who many of you may have heard. Bill's one of the most well-known speakers in dentistry. He's going to talk about global diagnosis and how to set the stage for treatment planning, which is really what we're going to be talking about over these 2 days. He's going to be followed up by Dr. Seth Atkins. Seth is our 2026 AES program chair. Seth is going to do a presentation on how do we now start to obtain our diagnostic information that we're going to use to diagnose and treatment plan our cases, but we're going to look at it not only from an analog perspective, but from a virtual perspective as well. Following Seth, Dr. Tom Preddy, who is an interventional neuroradiologist, is going to talk to us about TM joint imaging, but he's going to do it from the medical radiologist perspective. It's going to be a perspective that we're not used to hearing as dentists, and I think you're really going to enjoy this presentation. Before lunch, Rex Lee is going to finish our morning. He's going to talk about cybersecurity to give us a little bit of information on what we can do to protect our information at the office. After lunch, we have a really neat afternoon planned. We have 3 oral surgeons who are 3 of the top oral surgeons in the country. We're going to start out with Dr. Mike Gunson. Mike's going to talk about pathology in the lips, how it's all connected. Dr. Reza Movahed is going to talk about total joint replacements and the orthodontic surgical cases that we see so often in our practice today. And Dr. Brian Shaw is going to end the presentation aspect of our meeting. He's going to talk about face-first treatment for the TM joints. After those 3 presentations, Adam and I will moderate a panel, and we'll have questions that will lead to some pretty spirited discussion between the 3 clinicians that will have our afternoon program covered. After our afternoon program, we'll adjourn, and then we'll have our wonderful President's Reception on Wednesday night at the Marriott. We look forward to having you join us at that wonderful event. Thursday morning is going to be a great morning to start out right out of the bats. We're going to start out with Dr. Domingo Martin. Domingo is an orthodontist from Spain who has a really strong background in occlusion and TMD. He's going to talk about occlusion and TMD from the orthodontist perspective. Following Domingo, Dr. George Mandelaris, who's a periodontist, is also going to cover the same topic. He's going to talk about occlusion and TMD, but he's going to talk about from the periodontist perspective because we want to bring our specialists into this discussion as well. After the break, we're going to have a really interesting discussion. We're going to talk about the common patient in our practice. 26, 27-year-old female who's a class 2, has history of ortho treatment. She's clicking, she's got some pain. We'll have 3 different clinicians talk about how they'll treat it. Dr. Leanne Brady from the Pankey Institute, Dr. Lynn Lipskis from the American Academy of Craniofacial Pain, and Dr. Pete Lemieux, who's in private practice in Lakeland, Florida, are all going to talk about different options that we can use to treat this common problem that we see in our practice. Our afternoon will start with Dr. John Coyce and Dr. Marta Ravilla-Leone. They're going to talk about digital dentistry, works and doesn't work. We're going to end our meeting with Dr. Frank Spear, and he's going to talk about occlusion and TMD from the prosthodontist perspective. So as you can see, we've got a fabulous 2 days planned. We really hope that you'll join us. AES is one of the premier organizations in dentistry, and I think you'll really, if you've never been to an AES meeting, this is the meeting to come to this year. This will be an all-star lineup, and I know you'll enjoy not only the meeting, but the people who come to the meeting because you'll have a wonderful time in Chicago for 2 days. We look forward to seeing you in February. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.